Hey, this is Liz, and you're listening to the SouthCack Syndicate Podcast.
What's up? Welcome. I'm Jared Ketterman.
Kyle Voss. You are listening to the #1 podcast in the world. Not really.
At least the state of South Carolina.
Maybe. That should be something we should check on.
We will be.
Let's work on that.
We should do data to see how many podcasts there are by geography.
So I was looking today, kind of searching through the podcast stuff, doing the podcast thing, and there is a top 100. I think this was on iHeartRadio, maybe.
Okay.
I was like, ooh, we need to do that. We need to make that top 100 podcast. And I was looking through them. A lot of them, had the Gary V's and the Bradley. Who else was on there? Anyway, there was a bunch of them I knew, but there was a ton of them that I didn't know. And some of the topics I was like, it can't be that big.
Yeah. When we talked about doing this, I just typed in South Carolina, click podcast on Spotify, and look, there's some ghost hunters, ghost stories, history of South Carolina, Backroom and Bourbon that does the politics. They are just crushing it in Columbia. Great idea. Great podcast, actually.
That is a great
high-end people on there. But I was on the fence about calling it SouthCack because I thought we'd put it in a niche market, but we're just based in South Carolina. Doesn't mean our topics are going to go to not talking about England.
That's right.
Or
Well, I think me and you kind of decided that, hey, we'd love to kind of give people in South Carolina, businesses in South Carolina, some ears, I guess, if we could.
An outlet.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. We're just basically representing.
We will do that.
Yeah,
we will be doing that. So let's talk about. You just posted the first episode yesterday.
The first audio episode.
Yeah, so it was really cool to see it on Spotify itself. As a searchable item. Sent it out to Hugh, which was our first guest, and listened to that last night. And Hugh is back in Little Rock.
We got to critique ourselves on all the stuff we didn't do right, or the stories we missed.
We did miss a story, but that's what I love about this. And as we grow our listener base, they'll go back to these beginning ones and go, man, they had no clue what they were doing.
We're never going to have a clue.
No, which is great.
Right. That's what makes it what it is.
Which is great. So this will be podcast episode 2. And you're in on the ground floor here. So if you're listening to this and you want to sponsor our podcast, reach out to us.
That's right. Oh, we have an email address now.
We do have an email address.
SouthCackPod@gmail.com.
I love that. SouthCackPod@gmail.com. So shoot us an email. Let us know. Let us know what you want to hear. Let us know what guest you want to see on here, and let us know if you would like to sponsor an episode, or if you own a business or have a very interesting hobby. Hit us up. We'd love to talk about it.
At this point, we basically work for beer.
It would help. Yeah,
we can just pay our beer tab.
Yeah, we already own the real estate, so pay the beer tab.
Do you want to do our fake commercial?
It's not a fake commercial, but
this is Liz from Weston Co. Taproom. If you're looking for a great selection of craft beer, friendly customer service, and a great outdoor space, come see us in Walhalla, South Carolina.
Walhalla, South Carolina. Thank you, Liz.
Yep. So it's fake because we ain't really getting paid for that. Not yet.
We're trying. Yet.
We're working on it.
Well, as soon as we do get a paid sponsor, Liz and Weston Co. ad goes away because they're not a paid sponsor, or they're going to have to match.
That's what I'm saying. If we can get them to pay, then hey.
That's right.
See, the key is here, folks. You create the ad for a business you're trying to sell, and then you can take them the finished product and say, look, hey, this is what it sounds like. Matter of fact, you've already got a little clout. Don't you feel like you need to...
Here's what aggravated me. So I had a business owner in here, and they were really like, oh, my gosh, this is the coolest setup ever. You're going to crush it. You're going to get so many listeners. I was like, well, how would you like to advertise for X amount of dollars a month? And let's say I'll call it $25 a month.
Yeah.
And the first question they asked, well, what's your listener base?
Yeah.
Well, I don't have to sell you on my listener base. I'm selling you on $25 a month because when our listener base goes up, there is no $25 a month spots.
Yeah.
It's $250 a month.
Yeah.
But your ad will always stay on our podcast regardless
Oh, you gave them a lifetime deal.
No, but if their ad is on episode 2 or
you're
3,
saying, I got you. You're saying it's out there.
that's right. It's going to be out there no matter what.
I think about that on the YouTube space a lot.
Yeah.
You know, when I do those commercials, because I'm like, that lives forever. Mm-hmm. You know, those folks are paying a premium for whatever they're doing, ad wise initially. Mm-hmm. But man, and I don't even know if they realize it. Man, if I created a cranking video that, and I guess that's the gamble too. Like, you know, you create a video that goes viral versus something that doesn't go viral. Regardless, though, a video lives forever, potentially.
Hopefully.
Yeah, and they get that, you know, over and over. It'd be like Coke saying, "Hey, we'll advertise on
Super Bowl 85.
No, because that's you can't go watch. I don't know that you can go rewatch.
Can now.
Can you
On YouTube?
I was thinking more like Big Bang or something.
I got you.
And we're gonna place an ad on Big Bang, and then for years, or Friends, or Seinfeld, you name it. For years, that ad has to live on that, no matter where it goes. Whoever buys the content, which is why they do product placement now, because that's kind of how that works.
So let's talk about this for a minute. Let's talk about advertising.
Okay.
When it's important, when it's not important, when is it irrelevant, when will it not be irrelevant?
Where's it going? How it's changed?
I've got friends in the radio industry. I've got friends in the newspaper industry. I've got friends in the YouTube space, and now we're currently in the podcast space, right?
Yeah.
So the media options are still all there. And I keep telling my newspaper friend, I was like, man, one day print is going to die. And he's like, one day, but we're not there yet.
Yeah, we're still making money.
That's
Yeah.
right. So, but the advertising space, right? You buy in bulk, you get a cheaper rate. Radio ad is super cheap. And then social media came out. I think Facebook was the first to say, here's what a sponsored ad does. And here's how much it is. And then when you really dig into demographics, and I can pinpoint who listens to me, who likes the stuff that I like, or whatever I'm trying to sell them, and it's pennies on the dollar.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Now you got TikTok and Insta and all that stuff. You can still boost, quote unquote, boost ads.
You can. You can create what they call dark post. Mm-hmm. So you could create a SouthCack .com dark post on your Facebook. Nobody would see it. Your organic followers wouldn't see it.
No, that's right.
But it would be a boosted post that would be used as advertisement.
Not duplicating to my current following.
Right. And your following won't be like, why are you sending this to me? Right. Or why am I seeing this? Because it would kind of be.
When I opened up the outdoor store first, that was the first business I put on Main Street of Walhalla. And I mean, media outlets came out of the woodwork. Hey, we're with such and such radio station. I can give you 30 slots for 30, blah, blah, blah. Hey, we're with the newspaper. Would you like the front page and the middle page? And I'm just going,
full page.
And so, especially for new business, right?
I want the centerfold.
Depending on the publication, right? Maybe. But especially for new business, when is it important to advertise? And do you wait till you start? Do you start advertising beforehand?
Yeah.
We would call it hype, right?
Yeah.
Coming soon. Do you keep advertising going on? I read somewhere, this was years ago, so I don't know if the data is going to be relevant anymore. But a person had to drive down the interstate and see or the road and see a billboard 7 times before their brain actually went, oh, I can get a slushie at the Please You.
Yeah.
Like they've driven to work every day and they see the same billboard, but you have to see it 7 times, or you have to hear it on the radio 7 times. 7 was the number.
See,
Now I think that's changed.
Oh yeah. Well,
I can see an ad I've never seen before, and I'll actually stop. And if it's relevant to my content, which it scares me how relevant ads are becoming.
Yes.
We will see ads based on what. That's exactly right. I will stop. Billboards don't have.
Well, I think the big advantage to social versus billboards is that you can quantify what you're doing. So as a business owner, if you want to advertise, you put a billboard up. You don't know how many people seen it. You don't know how many.
That's right.
You don't know how many people those.
All you have is traffic count. So you have traffic count, but that doesn't mean
eyeball count.
That's right. They could be looking at their speedometer when they go down.
They could be looking at their phone,
which is nowadays, worse.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
And you don't know how many of those people actually went to your venue from seeing that billboard or purchased something from you from seeing that billboard, right? Versus that, even if it was less.
Well, newspapers, magazines, anything other than digital social media
You can't quantify it.
You can, and here's how we figured out to do that. If I ran one ad in a specific magazine, and I put, we have some Airbnbs upstairs called Lofts Over Maine, and if I put loftsovermaine.com, you can follow us there. I can't quantify it. But if I put Lofts Over Maine 2, or change the .com that routes back to our main.com,
right.
I know
you can see traffic back.
I only used it in that ad in Southern Living, and they used that website, and we got bookings from that.
So I get that
on the print side.
I get that. You can see how many people went back.
That's right.
But that doesn't necessarily. So that's kind of better than a billboard, but still not as good because you don't know how many of those people actually booked, right? And it's harder to get people to go to a website versus a click.
Yeah.
Like if it was just a click ad, you could see how many clicks.
Oh yeah, I think data is.
Not only that, hold on. Not only that, through the website, you don't know the demographic of those people that came and looked at that website.
No, that's right.
You just know that they came.
That's right.
Versus you use a Facebook or an Instagram or anything else ad, you know the demographic. You know what the average salary for that demographic is, the
you
age,
fill in the blanks.
the area.
That's who you want to see your ad, right?
Well, the good thing is you could place an ad like that, say on social, for the lofts. You could do it just locally, so you're only getting local folks seeing it. You could monitor clicks through that. They're going to record demographic, information, age, sex, area, what their interests are, all those things, right? And then what you could find is if you figure out who was most likely to click that to check it out, then you could just market those people.
That's right.
Versus spending. That's the other thing about a billboard. You're putting it out there. You're spending the money, and 90% of people that see it have no interest in your product because they're not the right demographic.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
Newspaper is kind of the same way.
Then why do people still spend millions and millions of dollars advertising in print, radio, and billboards?
It's a great question. I think a lot of it's old school.
Definitely.
Like people don't realize when they click an ad on Instagram that the person who put that ad on there can basically get all the information of that person, not individually, but as a group. And so when you're starting a business and you're not that keen on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube or just digital advertising in general, that's not going to be your first thing to think about, right? You're going to think about newspaper, radio, whatever. And then you have these folks that are knocking doors selling you on that kind of stuff too. Oh, right. I hear it all the time on the radio. The radio will post ads trying to get you to advertise on the radio, and it says, we have more listeners via whoever, whatever. And I'm like, yeah, but people don't understand is 90% of those people don't care about your product because they're putting it out there to everybody. So you're spending, so even if it's cheaper, we'll just make it round numbers. Say to advertise in your area on the radio, it costs you $100 for your business for whatever. And say only 10% of that is actual potential customers, which means you're paying 10x, really. You should be paying $1,000 for that. You'd be paying $1,000 for that 10% because the rest of it's going to waste. Versus on digital, you can actually target your customer for $100 and you get 100% of your customers versus only getting 10%.
You get 100% of interest. May not result in sales or bookings, but you get 100% of the demographic that is interested in your product.
It's your target demographic.
Right. Do you remember the direct mailers used to come in the newspapers or free, I call it the Winn-Dixie ads. You got all these direct TV,
go right in
Southern
the trash.
Bell, whatever.
I get them for cigars now.
The numbers on that are 1%. 1%. If you put out 100 of those, you're probably going to get one customer.
And if it's
you're
cheap
not
enough,
getting 99.
If it's cheap enough, it works. Billboards, if it's cheap enough, it works. Radio, newspaper, if it's cheap enough, it works. But what people have to realize is that if you're putting an ad in the newspaper or on the radio, you can't look at the numbers of newspaper readers or listeners because that doesn't matter.
It's just consistency.
Well, what you got to realize is there's a small percentage of that it's actually your customers. And that's where digital comes in because you can actually spend that same dollar amount and get just your customers. potential customers versus you're on, the radio or newspaper or billboard, whatever it is, you're not getting your customers. 90% of that is people aren't even paying attention to it.
And then how long do we have? I
think about it with the dock. You see the dock companies around here?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, they're getting a ton of traffic. How many of those people are actually in the market to buy a dock? How many of those, first of all, live on the lake? One. And then need a dock, two.
At that price point.
At that price point.
That's right.
So it's like kind of a waste if you think about it because so many people see it. Now, there is what you call brand awareness, which I believe in as well.
Not if they're spending their marketing budget, which should be an equation of sales, right? They have to market at some point.
But technically, what you could do, you could take that same ad, you could put it in some form of media, social media, right? Just target people that live on the lake, that make X amount of dollars. Like you can set.
We need to bring in.
Now I don't know I know enough about this stuff to be dangerous.
Sure.
There's so much I don't know.
We need to bring in Brandon from the radio station. Have him as a guest.
That'd be awesome.
And we can bring in one of the guys
That'd
from
be
the
rad.
Journal.
That'd be rad. Do that and then like bounce.
Yeah.
Theirs versus.
What I'd like to see is that's exactly.
Yeah.
Who are you losing due to social media?
Yeah.
Or the iPhone or Android?
Well, a lot of people don't spend time on their phone too. That's always or you don't know where they're at. For instance, if you was selling docks and you were trying to target somebody living on the lake who needed a dock, who had the money, you kind of hit all those boxes. What if they're not on Instagram?
Mm-hmm. What if it's the older demographic?
Right. What if they're not on Facebook?
Yep.
Where are they? They're driving down the road seeing a
Looking at a
billboard.
billboard or listening to the radio.
So maybe,
And FM has certainly combated it or had its own issues, right? Satellite radio came out and FM, little small town stations. If we didn't have what we call the flea market on the radio at 2:00 every day.
Free goats.
That's right. And, that's where they get, their advertising block actually gets more expensive.
Yeah.
Right before or right after the flea market.
So I don't want to get off subject, but do you think WGOG could be bought? And for how much?
I think it can be. I think everything can be bought.
Well, of course.
So what we've learned, we tried to actually buy a radio station in another state, North Carolina.
Yeah.
I learned more about radio going through this process. And what I learned was it is all advertising dollars.
Yeah.
Without advertising dollars, there is no business.
Nothing,
You don't get paid to spin
You're right.
an old Aaron Tiffin record.
Not only that, it costs you.
You get, and I love Aaron Tiffin, by the way, but
Do you
get
not have to pay
to run the funeral service ad.
Do they not have to pay per song too? Isn't there like a?
There's some companies out there like CDX. If you want your spins, you actually pay CDX, and CDX pushes it out.
Gotcha.
It's hard to get independent artists on FM radio. Small towns are way different than like WESC out of Greenville that are owned by corporate. They're going to be like, okay, that's cool, but we're not
doing
putting
that.
them in rotation.
Yeah.
And if you ever listen to FM radio, you're hearing the same 20 songs all day.
That's right. Is that
if you're in an 8-hour
pay to
shift
play?
in the factory, then
How's that working?
you're hearing that.
Tell me, Mr. Music Man.
I don't know.
Pay to play?
I don't know. Sometimes. Sometimes.
Yeah. Because, I hear, and I'm not going to mention any names, I hear the same, especially when they're new. That song is played over, and I'm like, you know what?
It was the destruction of Wagon Wheel.
No
question.
Somebody's behind the scenes boosting that.
That's right.
They're saying, hey, we're going to pay you X. We need that song played X amount of times a day. And we'll pay for it. That's our advertising dollars because we know this song can be huge or whatever.
Yep, I agree.
Interesting. Anyway, I always thought, I kind of drove by there the other day, and I was like.
So I looked into it.
I was like, that's a cool place.
So it's not.
Like, how rad would it be to have your own radio station?
It's not a guy. So we looked at one guy who had one frequency in North Carolina.
Yeah.
And so I was talking to the owner of that frequency of the FCC, and he was willing to sell. And we were running the numbers. We wanted, I saw the opportunity here. And then I had the same exact question. What about my own local radio station? Can it be bought? What we learned was a corporate group owns it. Several radio stations. That's one of them in their bucket. So whether they'd be willing to sell or not. And what the idea was when we started going down this road is if I can put it in one of the empty spaces on Main Street, put the speakers at the corner.
Yeah, just like that in Seneca.
And just roll it out, and then you can walk by and see the DJ, hey, would you like to hear something special?
Yeah, put your TRL in Walhalla.
Yes.
The sign.
Yes.
It's a road.
Everybody's standing in the,
Yes,
waving.
exactly. Like 3 people.
Yeah.
Hey, Mom. Yeah, we can do it. Live broadcast, video, and
Why don't we do that?
we should do it. Hey,
should
you
just
got a
be
building. You have a building.
a building. We should just turn it into the podcast studio. Just,
Live. Dude,
we should explore that.
Yeah.
We definitely need sponsorship money.
that's awesome.
If we could, I'll say this: if we could raise enough sponsorship money to cover what I need out of that building, I would 100% do that deal.
I'm trying to think how you could. So this is what I think is going to happen. So we talk about opportunity all the time. That got my eyes watering and laughing so hard. And the fact that I don't think radio goes away because you need something to be doing going on the road. I mean, people listen to podcasts and they do whatever, but there's always going to be music.
That's right.
Music is like the lifeblood of
Everything.
people, right? Mm-hmm. Now, maybe it goes away from radio stations and everybody just starts streaming it. I mean, I go to the gym. I'm not listening to radio. I have my own playlist.
You got a playlist that you curated just to help you work out.
It depends on the mood I'm in,
That's
what I'm
right.
listening to, and all that stuff. I mean, I think so many people are like that. And maybe as the younger generation gets older, radio kind of goes away to some extent. But I think what's going to happen is it gets reinvented.
Well, so the reinvention of our generation was Spotify.
I'm talking about radio, though, not music. So what you're saying is the music kind of was reinvented. Now you can get it from Spotify or Alexa.
Well, the way we listen to music was
Right,
reinvented.
right.
That's right.
But I think there's going to be a place for radio. Like FM, whatever, you name
Sure.
the station, will still be around. It'll just be sound a little bit different than it's.
It's really windy outside. Took an umbrella down. Sorry about that. Okay.
I think it's going to be reinvented in a way that is useful. That's not in its current version, and maybe that does include some music. But if you could I think there's an opportunity there if you figure it out. I mean, let's be real. Who listens to WGOG?
You'd be surprised.
Well, and I could be surprised.
You would be surprised.
And I shouldn't like pick on them in general.
It's a great station.
Yeah, small town.
Glad we've got it.
And I'm glad we got it too. Small town radio stations, though. We're talking about, when I say small town, like
4,000 and under.
Is that what their listener base is?
No, but it's based out of this town, sort of, right? So
Yeah.
Walhalla's a small town.
And they have their own.
But they have a reach all the way in.
Seneca has their own too.
But their direct circle is, into Toccoa. It goes into Georgia.
Yeah.
Comes a little bit in North Carolina. If your
They can't be that
car's in the
powerful.
right spot.
Yeah.
That's right.
So not saying, and maybe those will always be around. I don't know. I think there'll always be a place for that kind of stuff for local, and maybe it's like turns into like talk show style stuff or live broadcasting live from county council meeting, whatever. I don't know how that works out, but I think there'll always be a place for it. But what and how is that going to change? Or do you take something like that?
Well, does FM become the VHS tape? Does it just disappear? Does it go away? Does the technology die? What else? What else can you use those frequencies for?
Or you take WGOG and the frequency they own, but you broadcast it across the world. I mean, that's what we're doing.
Yeah.
We don't have nothing like
Nope.
they have. They don't sound as good. We're not as technical.
There's no antenna to fall over in a tornado.
Probably not near as smart as those folks up there. But
That's
guess
right.
what? There's probably people in Russia gonna listen to this.
That's right.
If
you're in Russia, hit us up.
That's right.
What's the email again?
SouthCackPod@gmail.com.
SouthCackPod@gmail.com. I love it, man. That's a great email.
So anyway,
Well,
yeah, it's gonna be interesting because I'd be cool to own a radio station.
Yeah, well, that was one of the reasons we wanted it in the portfolio, right? We don't have a radio station.
Yeah.
And just to be able to say, I own a radio station.
Yeah.
But the ideas were to bring in and make it really local. Bring in your big act out of your hometown and put them in the studio.
Or you just bring in anybody and everybody that
Right.
that has talent,
Right.
right? Maybe like the station is that. It's the launch pad.
Or what if we created the X Factor AGT at a local level, right? We talked about for years doing a Shark Tank at a local level.
Yeah, yeah.
right? Let's put 5 guys in a room, and then you get one of the programs we came up with is you bring 15 teams in or 15 people in.
Right.
You give them 15 minutes, and the best pitch gets the pot.
So there's like a dollar amount. Mm-hmm. One problem though with that is, so have you ever used Fiverr or?
I have.
So not Fiverr.
99 Design.
Yeah, there's one where it's a minimum $200.
Okay.
And that's kind of what it is. And you tell them what you want, and then a bunch of people join in to try to win that $200 based on design. So everybody submits their designs. You pick one design, that winner gets the $200. What I found in that process though is, what if none of them are worth $200? You still got to pick one, and you're not really getting what. So that's the problem I see with that.
That's where your disclaimer comes in.
Yeah.
Or there's a vetting process.
Yeah, you vet them out where there's a bunch of good ones.
You've got 3 or 4 out of 15 that could use the
so
capital
now,
injection.
I tell you what I would do. What I would do with this company with the designs is, say you pay the $200, but you get like 6 $80 designs, right? You pick the best one, and then you hit the dude up below him, and you say, "Hey, look, sorry you didn't win, but hey, I'll give you $50 for the work you did." They already did the work.
That's right. Yeah.
They're like, "Shit, I'll take your $50." Then
Here's the file.
Then you hit up number 3. Hey, I'll give you $50 for what you did. Sorry you didn't win, but here's something. So I end up spending $400, but I got 6 designs. You divide that out, it didn't cost me $200 per design, right? So I mean, I guess you could do kind of the same thing with that, especially if you vetted them. If there was like 6 great ideas or companies or startups, and he said, "Here's the pot. Pick the one that wins," but then you go to number 2 and say, "Hey, man, we really liked your idea too.
Yeah.
Sorry you didn't win the pot, but we'd be happy to back you in some way, maybe some equity in the deal."
Sure.
Walhalla's just not the place for that.
I think the harder part is finding 5 guys that want to throw in X amount of dollars each
Yeah.
to have a.
I think honestly a better solution for that would be something like me and you had talked about back in the day, where you have an incubator. You build a great space. It's really cool to hang out. And then you bring in these young guys that have dreams and aspirations, don't know business, don't know startup, don't know capital raising. They don't know any of these things. You bring them in.
Yep.
You say, "Hey, let's build a team. Here's your space. You can use it."
Yep. Then you find them, so they've got 90 days to come up with their idea.
Start cranking out some code.
Yeah. And then you find a building, and then you put them in the building and lease it to them, because you already own. This is the idea we did in Seneca when we had the corner building across from Kiwi Brewing. We're going to fill it with smart people, and then we're going to start buying all the real estate all the way down to the Ramcat district.
And you lease it to the.
And so Tony Shea did this. He used to own Zappos, sold it to Amazon. And so we visited his facility in Las Vegas, is where we got this idea for Oconee. And we never came to fruition with it. But what he did was, he had a board outside of his office. And if you were on staff or working at his co-work space, renting from whatever, you have put an idea and stuck it to the board. Well, every day he'd just go by his board and just pull one. Look at the idea, and then he'd meet with you. And if you sold him, he'd be like, "Okay, we're going to get you going. And in 90 days, you're going to go in this spot. You've got 6 months to get out of the red and into the black. And if you're not in the black in 6 months, I'm sorry, we're still friends, but you're out. Next idea."
Gotcha.
It was a phenomenal idea if you had a demographic.
Super tough for tech, though.
Well, it doesn't have to be tech. It can be whatever.
I agree, because tech, and that would work awesome for like.
It could be retail. It could be bakery. It could be art studio. Gallery.
So who does the build out?
So it's 2 business models, right? You have the idea, and not only are you putting them into space, you're taking a percentage of that business.
Right.
So you don't own 100% of your business anymore. You own X.
I'm going to put you in the space.
Right.
You make the business happen.
Then the whole flip side of that is there's a real estate deal on the backside that they're always getting in lease.
Yeah.
Whether it's from them or a new tenant. You're not signing a year lease.
And I guess if the business works out, they move on to a bigger space.
That's right.
You still have a cut of the business, and then you move somebody else in your spot.
So we left his office, and we went and ate at a diner or bakery. I don't know what it
came out of there or something.
Yeah, and so she'd been there for 3 years and singing. I would have never got to do this if I didn't have the ability. So I'd go in and build the space out for her. So what I found here locally in small town is everybody wants their own business.
Yeah.
But nobody they don't know how to build out a space,
Yeah.
or they don't have the wherewithal or the funds to do it. So we started building businesses and selling the businesses and keeping the real
Yeah,
estate.
that's exactly what you did.
So,
But you could have done the same thing if you'd have found somebody that wanted to open a tap room and you said, hey, look, tell you what, you got a great idea, which you had the idea. You were the guy that sold yourself on. But
Yeah.
if there was somebody else.
there's no place to get a craft beer here. Like, think how strange that is now. Now, Walhalla's become a drinking town with a parking problem.
Yeah.
It really has. So, but yeah.
Yeah, but when you think about beer.
Nobody can walk into this space and see a tap room.
When I think about a craft beer in this town, I think of two places. They don't even
That's right.
They don't even register. It's
Right.
here or the garage.
Yep,
That's
no
two.
doubt.
That's two places I think about.
Yep. But so a lot of people don't have that vision, or they want to and can't for whatever reason. They don't
Yeah.
have the time, or they don't want to pay the rent for the 6 months
The
it takes to
risk.
build out.
The risk is
they
usually
don't
the
want to
biggest
take
thing.
the risk.
Yeah, the risk is the biggest thing.
And so what we learned was, especially if we own or finance the business, right? That's the smart play.
Yeah.
I'll build the business. In one instance, we did the proof of concept. So we ran it for 12 months, opened up the books,
Yep.
and then did a really very simple business equation. Here's what it's worth, 3 times EBITDA, whatever.
Yep.
Here's the cash flow, and it works, and it's a lendable deal.
Here you
but
go,
I'll
grow it.
also, and I'll charge you rent, but I'll also finance it for you with a little bit down.
Yep.
And then the tap room was like, we didn't even get a chance to do proof of concept. It was open
You did for
2 months.
Yeah, but you
And
knew then it was.
I
good
knew it
enough.
would work. We were first
Yeah.
to market, and
Yeah.
that was key. But it was my attorney comes to me. He's like, "Hey, you ever thought about selling a tap room?" I was like, "Let me show you how easy it is
Yes.
to own your own."
That's
Because
right.
I love the creative side, and we've talked about that a lot already. But I really like going in there and seeing a still viable working business.
Right.
So the model works.
Yeah. So he's speaking of the tap room that is right next door to us. West & Co. We've had several of their
Commercials.
commercials. Hashtag
That's right.
or not hashtag. What is that?
Quote unquote.
Quote unquote commercials. We give
Free.
them free love. Mm-hmm. So
You'd think they give us free beer.
yeah, it's great that they're convenient.
That's right.
And usually they come see us.
Yeah.
We haven't seen the.
Liz is not
Oh, that's
working
right.
today.
She's not working
Yeah,
tonight.
Liz is
That's-
our
that's
girl
why.
that always.
That's why I got an empty glass.
That's right. Would you like a bottle of great quality water?
No,
from
I'm
Pony
good.
Valley?
So we good. That was a
Yeah.
good talk.
Yeah, we'll label this advertising and
Yeah, that
small
was
business.
some good info.
We need to grab Brandon Kessler in here from the radio station.
Yeah.
And
I'd love to know how that
open
works.
up, peel this back a little
Yes.
bit and dig deeper.
I would love to do that and then like bounce what I know to be true versus that world which I have no idea about. You know what I'm saying? And kind of, I don't know how that would play out, but I'm sure it'd be interesting. I've never seen anything done like that where, I follow a lot of guys that talk about the new modern media, but they don't talk about both sides of it.
Yeah. So what's next, right? So I heard somebody ask Gary, and he's like, "So what's after TikTok? I'm already on TikTok." And I go, "What's after that? Where do I spend my money?" He's like, "Dude, I don't know what's next,
Yeah.
but I know what's now and what's relevant.
Get after it, yeah.
Don't worry about what's next. If
right.
you know it's relevant today, use that."
Yeah.
Is newspaper relevant today? For some markets, yes.
It is, yeah.
Is TikTok where to be? Yes, because it's very relevant. Instagram, yes. But nobody knows what's going to come next.
Yeah. Yep.
So,
I think the advantage to the TikToks and the whatever of the world,
do you have a TikTok?
I do. And TikTok, let me tell you, I'll tell you my philosophy on TikTok or what my hypothesis is on that. I think they would grow you fast in the beginning to get you hooked. Versus like
I don't have a TikTok. I'm not even familiar with the platform other than, I get the concept, but
Yeah, they have a different model. So on Instagram, you follow the people you want to follow, type of deal, and then you can be discovered through hashtag or story. TikTok's not like that. You can follow people, but their main page has nothing to do with your followers. It's just randomness.
all over the place.
And then what they do is they figure out real fast what you like and they feed you that.
So their AI is smarter than most
Way
platforms.
smarter. I don't know if it's smarter, they use it. So on Instagram, they're trying to do AI versus who you want to see that you follow. Whereas TikTok's like, no, we're not going to show you people you
You
follow.
know, you say that, but if I've got 1,200 followers on Instagram, I only see like four people from my followers. Either they're not posting. I mean, if 1,200 is my number,
Yeah.
right, then they're not posting. That's not true. Right?
But what happens with Instagram is they don't show you that in the way that it was posted. So, for instance, you follow me, you follow Hugh, you follow George. I post, Hugh post, George post. You're not going to see it in that order.
Yeah.
Their algorithm is going to change around and say, hey, every time Jared sees one of Hugh's posts, he really likes it. We're going to show him that one first. And then it could be so-and-so, so-and-so. I could be like 40 down, even though I just posted.
Yeah, I'm into Reels so much on Instagram, and
Yeah.
I rarely go to my feed anymore.
So Reels is, or do you watch, I guess it is Reels, or is Reels where they send you like, this is like random people you don't even follow.
Yeah, that's right.
It's just stuff
but obviously they're paying attention to what I'm looking at because I see airplanes, trout fishing, fly
so
fishing.
that's exactly what TikTok did,
Gotcha.
but that is their core app. Whereas you go on Instagram and then you go to Reels, when you open up TikTok, it is the Reels, and they feed it to you just like that, where it's the interest you like and has nothing to do with who you follow, which is brilliant. I did when people first started talking about it, I was like, I need to kind of play with this a little bit. So I started a TikTok page, posted a couple videos. I'd take snippets out of some of my videos. I'd post them that I thought was cool. I actually made a couple Reels / TikTok style videos that were like vertical. Posted a couple of those, and like 5,000 followers, which tells me that I think they
Interesting.
take you.
Interesting.
Yes, I think they take you and like really push you in, and then you get 5,000 followers. You're like, oh man, I made it. And
Can you
so
monetize TikTok like you can?
no, it's not right. The way you monetize TikTok is,
Direct them to go somewhere else.
well, it's the viewers. So the more eyeballs you have, the
You
more
can
value.
definitely monetize TikTok.
Yeah, but not through the app itself. So TikTok's not going to pay you.
So you get advertisers that like your following and like your content.
Yes.
They pay you.
Right.
Yeah, I got a buddy, his wife. That's what she does. She makes more on TikTok. I know her monthly number, it blew like $17,000 a month.
Yeah.
And she's maybe 30.
Yeah. So it's all brand deals.
I'm just like, wow.
So you just align with a brand that fits. The demographic they're looking for is the people who watch you, and you guys align within the industry or whatever, and then they just pay you for X amount of posts or whatever.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Which really, that's the model everywhere.
It is.
You can do the same model.
That's where influencers started, right?
Yeah.
I got more followers
The
than most.
the advantage though, like to YouTube, is you're actually making revenue on the content through YouTube, and you got your brand deals separate.
Yeah. Well, we'll have an influencer on our list. She is on our list. She is pretty massive and located in South Carolina.
Right on. That'd be a cool.
And love to get her take on where that's going and what platforms
That's right.
are working best. So really, we stayed on topic today, Kyle, with
did good.
advertising. Really. So this was. I hope this was useful for some people and or all people. But if you have topics that you like or want to hear us talk about, we're pretty well versed in just about anything.
That's right. Reach out.
So what's the email?
Give us a follow. Email us if you want to. SouthCackPod@gmail.com.
I like it. Thanks
Yeah.
for your time today, brother.
Yeah, thank you.
That's it,
Hey.
folks.
Y'all have a good dinner tonight.
We will.
You didn't see that. It's just something.